Disclaimer, this video was made by a fucking idiot that can't read. Therefore, sometimes the audio might seem choppy or might completely change tone because I recorded it on a separate day because I'm bad at reading and I gave up. Anyway, here's the video. Poppy had nothing against the briar wolf, aside from the fact that it was about to maul her, its muzzle stained crimson from a previous kill, and the yordle wouldn't chance being its next. She was hot on the trail of a renowned monster slayer, and she didn't intend to die before she found the man and judged his worth. "You should step back, you won't survive this," Poppy told the wolf, holding her hammer aloft as a deterrent. The briar wolf was not discouraged. It padded towards her, propelled by some strange desperation that Poppy couldn't identify. The wolf leapt at her, as if it had made up its mind that its next act would be kill or be killed. Poppy swung the hammer, using every ounce of her strength to move the weapon's considerable weight. The blow she delivered collapsed the animal's skull in an instant, ending its torment. Poppy took no pleasure in the kill, but she supposed it was the best possible outcome for both her and the wolf. The yordle looked around the empty meadow, but sensed no trace of the monster slayer she'd come to find. She had roamed the countryside, following the rumors of his activities, hoping the mysterious hunter would be the fabled hero she had sought for so many years. But thus far, all she'd found was wolves, wyverns, and highwaymen, most of whom she'd been forced to kill in self-defense. She had spent weeks traveling from hamlet to hamlet in the far-flung corners of Demacia. She walked as fast as her tiny gait would allow, but the monster slayer always seemed to be one step ahead of her, leaving naught but trails of heroic exploits in his way. For a yordle, time is a curious thing, whose passing is seldom felt, but even for Poppy, the search was beginning to grow long. One day, when she was beginning to doubt herself and her mission, she saw a note nailed to a roadside post. "All are invited to attend the Festival of the Great Slayer." It was a celebration to honor the very hunter Poppy had been seeking. If there was any hope of locating this elusive hero, she would certainly find it there. He might even make an appearance, and then she could size him up in person, to determine if he was worthy to carry the hammer that Orlon had bequeathed upon her. The prospect put a spring in her step, and she marched with renowned purpose towards the celebration. Poppy was anxious when she arrived at the village, its banners and streamers gaudily proclaiming the day's festivities. Ideally, she would have arrived early at such a public event and claimed a spot in the rear of the crowd, so as to not draw attention. But the main market was already packed with spectators, and Poppy found it hard to maneuver through the press of bodies. She squeezed through the legs of the townsfolk, most of whom were too drunk to notice her. "I'd buy him a pint if he were here," slurred a voice above her. "Save my goats killing that monster." Poppy's heart raced, as it always did when she heard tales of the hunter. What if he turns out to be the one, she thought. But deep inside, Poppy asked a different question. What would she do once she was rid of this weapon? Would she find an entirely new purpose? A yordle without one was a pathetic sight indeed. She stopped her mind from wandering and brought it back to the task at hand. The tiny warrior managed to weave her way to the back of the market. She found a tall lamppost, both easy to climb and behind the eyes of the crowd. She then shimmied up the post, just high enough to see over the crowd. Poppy was just in time. On the far side of the market, a speaker stood with several Demacian officials on dais behind him. Something tall was draped in a ceremonial veil. Even with her keen yordle senses, Poppy could barely hear the man's words. He was talking about the monster hunter, and how he'd saved numerous farms and villages from wyverns, rabid wolves, and bandits. He had said that although this revered warrior had chosen to remain anonymous, it shouldn't stop them from celebrating his deeds. The slayer had been spotted several weeks ago near a town of Uendale, leaving the first eyewitness accounts of his appearance. With that, the speaker pulled off the veil to reveal a stone statue. Poppy grew faint with excitement as she saw the hunter's likeness for the first time. He was a paragon Demacian warrior, 7 feet tall, armored with a heavy plate mail, and rippling with sharply defined muscles. Beneath him lay a corpse of a wolf he had presumably slain. Just as the image had begun to settle in Poppy's mind, she heard the voice of a child. "Look, Dad, it's the slayer, the one from the statue," declared a wide-eyed girl. "No loss," said the girl's father. The girl and her father quickly lost interest and strolled through the village. As the crowd in front of the statue dispersed, Poppy moved in for a closer inspection. Now she could see the fine details of the hunter's marble depiction. His hair was long, fair, bounded two separate side knots, and in them he held a massive battle hammer, not unlike the one Orlon had given her. If there was ever a true hero in this kingdom, Poppy had never seen him. He has to be the one. I hope I'm not too late. She turned and left the festival as fast as her legs could carry her, taking the swiftest route to Uendale.